The year is 1988, gas is 91 cents a gallon, but a simple computer mouse costs $90. The Winter Olympics are going on in Canada, but down here in Louisiana, SuperLift is booming and growing faster than ever. SuperLift was started and run by truck and Jeep enthusiasts back in the 70s, and they were actually the very first guys ever to offer complete suspension lifts. Today, you'll see that the folks that are running the show at their facility in West Monroe still have that gasoline in their blood, but there's definitely some things that have changed. There's definitely fewer people running around than there used to be. I mean, taking a walk through the halls and peering into the offices will take you straight back to the good old days through a bunch of print ads and newspaper articles and just a bunch of neat old stuff from the heydays. Like many folks, when 2008-ish happened, things were heading in the wrong direction for SuperLift. And if you aren't old enough to care about the economy in 2008, or you just don't remember, I'll simply tell you that it wasn't very good. SuperLift stuck through it though and continued manufacturing good quality kits for a bunch of different vehicles. But with the lack of a media and marketing department, they sort of fell off the map for a while there. Fast forward to today, where I'm sitting in Louisiana sweating my buns off because it's super hot and super humid. There's a lot that's changed at SuperLift, but at the same time, there's a lot that remains the same too. So when you think of SuperLift, you might think of the classic Ford Bronco and the iconic yellow shock boots from SuperLift, not Jared's squatted thing that he's got going on. I'm talking about a real hardcore off-road rig that's ready for action, and yeah, that is SuperLift. But what you might not know is that they make kits for all of the brand new trucks too, and the 07 to 13 Chevy, and the 09 to 14 Ford, and the 14 to 18 GM, and 15 and up Ford, and 19 Ram, 19 Chevy, 19 Ranger, and so on. You get my point. They still make kits for just about every vehicle on the road today, well, trucks at least. SuperLift never stopped producing kits, you just probably forgot about them. And the best part, in my opinion, about a bunch of the kits that they offer is that you can upgrade to King coilovers and shocks. If you don't know who King is, I'm not sure where you've been the past couple of years, or well, like 20 or 30 years, just go find someone that has them and prepare to be amazed. Like most family-owned businesses, King Shocks had some very humble beginnings. So Lance King did the design work and the machining of the parts, his son Ross was the welder and fabricator, and then his other son Brett did sales for King. So those two kids worked basically a whole year, from the story that I've heard, without paychecks, just so that they could get the company off the ground. Now, just like the desert racers who ran their shocks, the King family wasn't afraid of hard work. King has also grown a ton since they first started way back in the day, but they've stayed true to their roots. They now make shocks and coilovers for hundreds of applications, but will still build you a custom coilover setup, if you're one of those pro racers, which is something that most places just don't really offer anymore. You have to buy stuff right off the shelf. Now, I know most guys that are watching this probably aren't the professional Baja racers out there. You're just got, it's guys like you and me that drive lifted trucks and whatnot. So you probably won't need a custom set of Kings, which isn't really a problem, since you can just pick up a SuperLift kit and upgrade to those Kings if that's something that you're interested in. And the nice thing about going through SuperLift is that you don't actually have to wait a super long time for those Kings to be made. It's usually like 6+ weeks, but SuperLift stocks a ton of the King products. So while I was here, I was like, hey Mike, why don't you let us take your SEMA build and go jump it, since it does have Kings after all. And although we didn't actually jump it, we did convince him to let us get it quite dirty and test out those Kings. I know I had an absolute blast, and the ride was like really freaking good on both the Silverado and the 4-inch JL that I was driving. So they offer King coilovers for quite a few applications. You can find it on their website in anything from like a 4-inch range up to an 8-inch range, just depending on what you drive. So both of the rigs that we were driving yesterday out here actually had a bunch of prototype black diamond components, which will hopefully be released this year. We're gonna pressure them to try to get it out there. Otherwise, it's gonna come out like 2020-ish. So if you haven't heard about Black Diamond, in short, it's basically the super premium high-end versions of the SuperLift kits that have options for full skid plates and belly pans, rock sliders, bumpers. The Jeeps have options for fenders, and the list just goes on and on with all of the different options and upgrades you can get in that Black Diamond line. So like I said, not out right now, but coming soon, and we're gonna keep pushing them to get it out there sooner rather than later. Who knows, we might see some of it at SEMA. I know last year they had this truck right behind me at SEMA to kind of unveil they're bringing back that Black Diamond name. So if you're looking to lift your truck, don't rule out SuperLift. They're still around, they still make really good kits. They have a lot of things in the works to come back into the game strong. So some of the most important things that are worth mentioning are going to be the new powder coat finish that's coming out, new designs in the cross members with a more modern logo, and offering kings for more and more applications, along with a new basic slim body twin tube shock that looks way better than the white ones, if I'm gonna be honest, because that's what they offer right now, and it just looks pretty old school. But I can't show you them because they're still in production, not finalized, top secret, probably shouldn't even mention it, but who knows. So these guys aren't just the guys that make lifts for Broncos, Blazers, and K10s. They probably have a lift for your truck too, unless you're like that one guy who drives a two-wheel drive Ram, then you might not get one. That's pretty much all I have for options. So check us out, wheels, tires, suspension, lift kits, the whole shebang. It's all on Custom Offsets. If you want to pick up a SuperLift kit, it's going to be there at CustomOffsets.com. If you guys have any questions on SuperLift or want to know if they make something for your truck, you can drop your comments below. Peace.